Okay, Helldivers, we have a ton of news and updates to go over, as well as the latest patch. Be sure to grab a beverage and let's dive right into the video. The community manager put up this post basically announcing the patch, what's included, and just in general explaining the reasons for these changes and adjustments. So let's cut the fluff, since most of this is bug fixes. The key points here to these changes state: it's been an interesting week with a patch that's had a few unexpected slip-ups. After testing and balancing, the wrong versions of some files of our new warbond items were shipped, which wasn't part of the plan. Misaligned scopes also made an unwelcome return. Some bugs really are persistent, aren't they? Slightly stares off into the distance. They then go on to pretty much say it's not their intent to do rebalancing on warbond content as it drops. However, it was needed since, of course, there was things in the update, like the Double Edge Sickle being medium armor penetrating straight off the bat when it was not supposed to be. So here the new Sickle has had some changes slightly made to it. The last 17 Double Edged Sickle was meant to start with light armor penetration and build up to medium as more heat built up, but it launched with medium armor penetration right away, even with zero heat, which personally I quite liked it. And right here you can see the changes before and after. To sum this up, they have made it so as soon as you start firing, you do not hit the medium armor pen straight away. You won't feel any damage effect though, which is nice. It will take a little bit longer to start dealing damage though to those medium armored enemies. In comparison though, before you could deal damage almost immediately to medium targets. However, the payoff is better now because you can actually do heavy armor damage now when you do fire long enough, but of course you'll be prone to fire damage. So in all fairness, I don't mind it at all. I did like it personally how it was before, but being able to deal damage to heavy targets is actually really awesome in itself. But most of us just use support weapons, man. I mean, I don't really myself use primaries much for heavy targets, so I'm kind of split on this one. In all honesty, it's a positive and negative change really. You'll get the max use out of this weapon when things really heat up. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on this change, because I am just bang in the middle for this one. The starting mags have been increased from 1 to 2 and spare magazines from 2 to 3 also. For sidearms, they have updated the ultimatum, which here it states: the GP-Ultimatum also gained extra ammo from the previously a bug but now a feature siege ready armor passive, and we feel that Pacific combination is too strong. We're huge fans of big booms, booming big, to quote our fabulous design director, so we didn't want to make the weapon less satisfying to use. This is not really a big deal breaker for me though. I will say this, however, I rock the supply pack a lot, which is handy especially for the bots with this secondary, since it plows through the striders. So I'm glad it's not a massive nerf and just a small minor change in some areas. They are keeping it a powerhouse, which I really like to see. Thankfully, not really any huge nerfs. Otherwise, yeah, that would just make the community go wild. Relating to this, I wanted to quickly talk about the Sickle 2.0. So far, after extensive testing, I was wrong. I was totally wrong. Even after this patch update, I'm still really liking it. Yes, some of these changes has made the community split, but in all fairness, it's still worth using, especially if you don't rock a support weapon. Someone made a good point and said, you know, if you wanted a primary weapon to eradicate gods, you'd expect some sort of downside for being able to reach those heights, like trying to take down hulks. It is actually not a bad weapon, and I am one for sure starting to like it. I was pretty skeptical to begin with, however, after using it on every faction, I've come to realise with the right armour, it's very good and you can dominate the battlefield. I want to go over this in detail as it's for an entirely different video, however, it shreds. Yes, it literally shreds. The positives here is, if you pair this bad boy with any fire resistant armor, like this one right here, which gives you 75% fire resistance, you can do things like this. Yes, endless firing. I know it's so insane. This just becomes a powerhouse of a weapon if used right, and to me it works the best on the bug front since you can just fire constantly, and now you can take down hulks it's even better. Then again, I really like it on the bots. It takes down everything with ease, and if I'm honest, when using this weapon, I've not gone for a heavy machine gun like I normally would, since you can take down medium armored enemies quite easily. Yes, since this update, it's not the best straight off the bat, and you need to fight a bit longer before you deal damage towards those pesky medium enemies. However, it's still a solid choice. Compared to the original sickle, it does a better job at taking down pretty much every single enemy type. The only letdown and negatives really is, if you don't use fire resistant armor, you end up dying pretty damn fast. So it can be good at times, but not the best if you don't use fire resistant armor, which does kind of suck, making this weapon not that admirable to some players, because it means if you want to rock this bad boy, you need to be using the same armor 24/7. And yeah, no one wants to die 24/7, you know, from their own weapon overheating. Let me know below, have you used the Double Edge Sickle, and if so, do you like it? I will have a video up soon testing everything out completely, so watch out for that one. Now on to the community comments. Yes, so managed democracy can prevail on YouTube. Blue Jay says, for some reason, never seen anybody talk about this, but why has nobody else speculated that Ironsights is a Arrowhead developer, or even Giorgiani or Pilstead themselves? It seems oddly suspicious to me that they're so accurate, able to test certain things to the degree they do, and be so open about it. It's honestly a genius way to keep the community interacting with the game and excited, even if it's a grain of salt until proven. Now that is great speculation and a good idea, but I'm just going to say this, okay? And I don't think Ironsights will obviously mind me saying this, but I've spoken to him on a few occasions, and when I spoke to him properly over audio call, it does sound quite young. I wouldn't say, you know, that young around my age, but he's been doing 3D modeling for a while from what I know, as he says on Twitter, and at the same time, like a lot of leakers, they use software to access the files and then test everything out in game. And funny enough, a lot of this software is actually quite accessible to most people. It's not really easy, because when he was showing me literally everything, the software and, you know, everything he's rendered in the past, yeah, it's not an easy job. It is not an easy job, okay? Not an easy job whatsoever. So I do give credit to Ironsights for like the amazing work he does, showing all these renders to us, because it's not an easy job to do, and even getting all these files. I mean, he's the only person from what I know who actually takes the time to actually get into the files and leak everything, whereas every other data miner I've seen has grabbed content and then obviously leaked it, and I don't think they're the people themselves who actually leak it in the first place. Shadow Wolf says, Thursday we'll head towards the Gloom after failing or successfully stopping the Illuminants full force. Usually Arrowhead updates in the week and not obviously the weekend, and as I said before, I didn't expect anything to come with the anniversary update, as it was a weekend. Montague says, it's about time we see more squid enemies. I agree, man, we need more Illuminant types. There's not really many in game at the moment, but obviously they're not going to like throw everything out at once, so it kind of makes sense. Kid Inc says, yeah, the Predator Stalker giving me wicked vibe. The regular Stalkers are already a little problem. Now they have been buffed up with some Gloom enhancements. Oh man. Agreed, man. This new update with the Gloom is going to be absolutely mental with these enemies, but it's great now we have a lot more firepower. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate all of your time as usual. Until next time, go and conquer the galaxy for managed democracy, and I will see you in the next video.